job is to be the CEO. His job is to run the day-to-day. The council shouldn't be in the weeds of running the day-to-day operations. And so as a council member, your job is, of course, to meet with the city manager weekly, to stay in tune with everything that's going on. But your job is not to run the city. And I think we want to make sure that people understand how a council manager form of government works. So for me, yes, I will be at all the meetings. I'll make sure that I do my homework. I'll do my due diligence and everything. I'll sit on additional committees like the MPO, Metropolitan Planning Organization, or the Charter Schools Governing Board, or whichever boards need the assignment of a council member. But it's important that people understand that council members are representatives. They don't run the day-to-day operation. They're responsible for holding the city manager accountable, for setting the vision, for setting the strategic plan for the city, and then making sure that we're working toward our goals. So, at the end of the day, what is the right salary is kind of, I think you were getting at with what does the council do. I think that's going to need to be a study that's done by a committee of independent folks who have expertise in compensation, have expertise in all different areas, and we have public meetings and public hearings and public input, and then maybe in 2026, you put that to a referendum vote where, you whatever, based on that recommendation, whatever that salary is, whether it's $50,000, whether it's $60,000, whether it's $70,000, whatever it is, we need to listen to the people and we need to make sure that we have that input. And if they had done that this time, then I believe that they would have had something on the ballot here in 2026 and people would have potentially voted for it. They might have voted it down, who knows?
Right.
But the reality is that I will say, in a city of our size, in a growing city of our size, the job of our council, with having to, with all of the land use hearings and all of the different ordinances and things that you have to deal with, the quasi-judicial hearings that you deal with,
right.
Our council does have a big job. But what we should do is bring back all of the dissolved advisory committees, like the budget review committee, because the more we can bring back the people into the conversation with valuing their expertise on things like budget and other areas, the less the council has to rely on getting into the weeds on the day-to-day with the city.
I think the worst thing is just watching and like going to a couple of these meetings. I can't believe y'all have like 9 cops there. You got to go through a metal detector. I ought to just go to a city council meeting.
Yeah.
What the heck is up with that?
So
I'm just asking. I'm just asking this.
Obviously, so safety and security is obviously a critical thing. I'm not involved in that. And we won't as council. I think that at the end of the day, the police chief is going to make that decision on who needs to be there for security purposes. I think this council has riled some people up, and so I think they've got some extra security there. But I tend to be someone who says, listen, let's be responsible with things like that. Do we need 2 armed officers there? Do we need 3? Whatever the case might be. But I'll leave that to the experts. I'll leave that to
that one time that I was there. It's like, my
God. That's going to be Chief Sizemore's decision on what he thinks is the way to have the optimum security there based on the need.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got you. No, I'm just messing with you. I'm sorry. Okay, so the next thing is with like crime rate and stuff like that. Have you seen the crime started rising here? I mean, murders and not robberies. You see it on the news every once in a while, but then burglaries and stuff like that, car burglaries and stuff like that. So if you're sitting there and you're talking to the police officers, because y'all got to deal with police officers too, or the chief of police, because y'all are making recommendations, right?
Right.
So what kind of recommendations do you?
So again, the city manager is responsible for the day-to-day operations, and he oversees the different divisions, including the police department. He hires the police chief,
right.
the fire department, through the public works and so on. So what I would say is, as far as statistics go, I don't know the exact statistics on which crimes are up and which crimes are down. I will say that I love this city, and I think most people who live here love this city. And I believe that our police force does a dang good job. Do they maybe need some more resources? Yes, and I think they've advocated for that in the current budget with some additional road patrol and some additional resources, and I think that the council is working to provide those things to them, as well as I think that they just recently made the decision, or they're going to be moving forward with the budget to do the half-back rate instead of the full rollback rate, which is one of those challenging decisions you have to make as a council, to have those essential services and make sure you're taken care of and having the, you know, your police officers and your public service. So I believe they're going to try to give a 10% raise in certain categories to be able to bring us up closer to the 75th percentile when it comes to pay for the police. So at the end of the day, the way that you make sure you have a safe city is you have a police force that is competent, you have great leadership, you have great planning, you're proactive in your approach, and you pay them because you want to retain them. You want police officers who are going to be able to live in this city, right? Who are going to be able to have families in this city. You don't want a police officer to be, you know, to have to live over in Punta Gorda or Port Charlotte or somewhere and have to drive here every single day.
That's gas money and everything else that we're having to burn out for them. So, looking at that, though, that's actually a pretty good idea. And now, what about like bringing jobs and stuff like that into the city? I mean,
Sure.
I guess we need more jobs
Yeah.
here. I think we got plenty of businesses,
Right.
but it seems like
Yeah, so and listen, this is, I think, the most important thing, right? The stipend is low-hanging fruit. Things like J.C. Park, it's tragic what's happening there, and there are many people who care about those things, and I care about those things. But what's most important for our future is how we get the economy, education, and workforce right? How are those things interconnected? How do we make sure that we're growing our commercial tax base, creating jobs that actually pay well enough to keep our people here, right? And so I will, through the city manager, work as closely as I can with the Department of Economic Development here in the city. I already do, as the director of Cape Coral Technical College. I have business partners throughout the community who we have come in for our school advisory council meetings. All of our programs have their own occupational advisory committees that give them guidance on what's needed in the industry. And so, you know, what we need to do is we need to attract businesses and opportunities, and I think they're doing, in some cases, a very good job of that. So, for example, Coral Grove, which is going to be the 130-acre development that's going up in the right place, in my opinion, at the right time, up near Bubba's Roadhouse and the German American Club. There's 130 acres there. The Cape Coral Grove project is a game changer because what they're doing is they're working with a developer to do a mixed use where they're going to have hotel and high-end condos and apartments, as well as all kinds of commercial opportunities, a performance area. They're going to have, I believe, a bowling alley as well as restaurants, you know, both casual and higher end restaurants and things like that. And what they just worked together with those the groups that were wanting the group that's wanting to come in there to create a model that I think we can use for the future of our city with a community development district, which provides incentives for them to help with the infrastructure and for them to make sure that we get that project right. And what that's going to do is it's going to create more jobs. Victory Park is another one that's up near the